Well, video number 4 kind of cut me off, so yeah, I don't really know what to say as to what really happened at the end of the video for number 4, but let's put it this way. This ad keeps popping up on my phone, and it cuts me off, and I have no idea why. But anyways, this is what's the science behind that. So welcome back, YouTubers. This is part 5 to our continuation of the lists of videos that we've been making so far. As to the evidence providing God's existence, and as I last left off, which I described that DNA can't function without at least 75 pre-existing proteins. Since each needs each other, they must have come into existence at the exact same time, by God. This fact eliminates evolution. A DNA fiber is only about 2/millionths of a millimeter thick, while DNA itself is not thick, and it is incredibly small. If stretched, it would go to the sun and back more than 500,000 times. If every single DNA in the body was weighed, it would weigh less than 1 tab of aspirin. And yet, the information storage density of it is many times greater than the most advanced silicon computer chip. Amazing. Think of DNA as a movie CD. Without the machine to read it and understand it, it would be completely useless. If it doesn't, the cells would die. DNA can also copy itself. God programmed the DNA to detect and correct errors. These are special proofreading protein machines that constantly travel up and down the DNA molecule, looking for any errors requiring correction. If any problems are detected, repairs are made immediately. This whole process is incredibly complex. The information contained in DNA proves that life does not just consist of matter and energy. It also contains information. The information can only be from an intelligent source that put the information there. DNA is another function that God uses to build what you look like. Your hair, color, height, etc., etc. Shortly after the first month of being in the womb, this is interesting, the speed at which you were rapidly growing slowed down dramatically. If it didn't slow down, your speed of growth stayed the same, you would weigh 3,000 pounds at birth. Now, imagining giving birth to a car. Yeah, I don't think I can see that happening, sorry. Now, at about 2 months pregnant, you are about 3 to 4 centimeters long, still small enough to fit inside a walnut shell. There is absolutely no evolutionary explanation whatsoever for the incredible complexity involving in conception and birth, or even a reason for the reproduction itself. Evolutionists believe that the amazingly complex, radically different, yet complementary reproductive systems for all the different kinds of life happen to develop by chance, completely and independently at the same time. Okay. Just a slightly incompatibility of one of the two systems would make both reproductive systems useless, and all life would become extinct. Now, how would reproduction have had happen in the beginning if the reproduction occurred without reproductive systems or organs before they evolved? According to evolutionists, humans evolved from land creatures, which evolved from fish. But how would the first fish make it onto land and survive out of the water? Now, to learn about the whole transitional fossil piece, please make sure to check out my playlist I created a while back, which is titled Reasons Why There Are No Transitional Fossils, to learn more about the topic of transitional fossils, and why we haven't found any yet. How did the animals and humans survive without having organs, limbs, and other parts critical to life as these things were evolving? Also, not one transitional fossil has ever been discovered that shows one kind of animal evolving into another kind of animal, and the so-called missing link fossils which some use to argue that apes evolved into human beings, have also been shown to be either fully ape, fully human, or fakes. Evolutionists also have absolutely no explanation whatsoever for the consciousness or the origin of the immune system. For example, white blood cells attack bad bacteria in our body. White blood cells will actually search out and chase down bad bacteria and seek and destroy missions. Interesting. In order to do this, they must have the program information that enables them to tell the difference between friend and foe. Unless all of this was in place and working from the beginning of life, a requirement that rules out evolution, bacteria and other agents of disease would have won, and we would not have survived. Evolutionists have no explanation whatsoever for the extremely complex yet perfect precision in which the body clots blood. Interesting. Disaster can happen if blood doesn't clot at the proper time and proper place. If the blood clotted in the wrong place, like in the lungs or in the brain, you could die. If blood began to clot too long after too much blood had drained or didn't cover the entire cut, you could die. If blood clotting isn't restricted to the cut area alone, your entire blood system could solidify. Evolution has absolutely no explanation whatsoever for blood clotting. How would your body automatically know when and where to start the blood clotting process? Unless there is an intelligent internal information to guide it. Huh? I got you there. And speaking of blood, what came first, the blood or the heart that pumps the blood? Did skin evolve before blood? If so, how did it survive? The truth is that all of these things had to be completely developed and present together at the exact same time from the beginning in order for humanity to survive. Now, the 3-pound human brain is the most complex and orderly arrangement of matter in the universe. The adult human brain consists 10 to the 14th power. That's more than 100,000 billion electrical connections, more than all of the electrical appliances in the universe. Now, on the back of your eyeball is a retina. It is less than 1 square inch, yet that 1 square inch consists over 137 million light-sensitive cells, and all of which are wired to the brain. The eye also has automatic focusing, enabling a person to distinguish millions of colors. If your eyes were off by even a slight degree, you would see double vision. All of these facts are just some of the evidence that proves we were created by God, and we find clear evidence of God's creative power and intelligence, not only in the design of man, but also in the incredible complexity of animals and insects. Basically, the universe. Some believe that the complexity of life and the universe can be explained by the possibility that an alien race created it. Aliens, where'd you get that idea, huh? But do you really believe that aliens have the power to create Earth? Note, please check out my video if you're interested, on how I describe aliens as being demons of Satan. I have an entire playlist on angels and demons, including the Grim Reaper as well. If you're, into aliens and that sort of thing, please make sure to check out my gap theory video. It's pretty interesting. The conditions in outer space is too hostile for life to exist. For example, prolonged exposure to the cosmic rays in outer space can be fatal. Just the temperature extremes in outer space would make almost any form of life either too incredibly too hot or too cold. There are also lots of poisonous gases, deadly radiation, gigantic explosions, extreme gravitational forces, and the lack of proper atmospheres and chemical elements for life to even exist. Yet a large number of astronomers believe that life evolved on Earth, and therefore, according to them, it must have evolved on other planets in space. I personally do believe that aliens do exist, except they did not evolve. For one, they are demons, fallen angels. The only ones known to exist are the Pleiadians. The Pleiadians are the only life forms created by God, free to explore the universe, and made their homes within the Pleiades cluster. Again, please check out my Get Theory video to understand the whole alien subject. The only reason aliens haven't been discovered is due to the government. You know the government. We gotta hide this, we gotta hide that. Keep this from the public. No. Big no. If any of this information gets out, they'll cut your head off. But I'll let you guys decide whether or not aliens do exist. That's up to you to decide, not me. Only existing alien evidence wouldn't be of our own universe, but would actually be from the spiritual realm. Based on the observed activity of UFOs, many of the world's top UFO researchers no longer believe that UFOs can be from the material world. Most of these so-called UFO abductees can only remember their experiences after being put under hypnosis, proving that the so-called experiences with aliens most likely probably were not real. Okay. This ends video number 5. Please catch me up for a really interesting topic in video number 6. We'll be going over the Fibonacci sequence. And until then, ciao YouTube.